What did I come in here for? Oh yes, we're doing that podcast thingy. Okay, right, I'm Jan.
I'm Sharon.
And we're menopausal friends living here in France, and we plan to share with you our lives,
Loves.
and laughter, as the saying goes.
There's always lots of that.
We'll be discussing many subjects and also just being us. Enjoy!
Woohoo!
Hello, welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Jan.
I'm Sharon!
She's here again.
So I was reading.
Okay, so what sort of week have we had? Apart from wet.
It's been a bit of a wet weekend.
Yeah, we had a wet weekend. I mean, I can't remember last recorded. Was it a week ago? Can't remember.
Yeah, this is Easter weekend, just gone.
Yes, and it must have been one of the wettest Easters we've had, isn't it?
It's quite an early Easter, isn't it?
I suppose it is, yeah, because usually April, isn't it?
Yeah, when they're mid-April, they're a bit nicer, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. But I do remember us going somewhere really for a lovely walk last year, and the weather was, well, I remember actually saying it on the video, this is such a lovely Easter weekend. I can't believe that was a year ago though when I say now, but yeah, so it's just ridiculous. When will the wet weather end?
Yeah, July.
Yeah, so I was trying to think what else has been happening. Not a lot because of the weather, really.
Well, I was at the English garden plants.
Yes, you was helping
thing all weekend. Wasn't
you was helping our friends to sell their pottery, although the actual creator of the pottery wasn't there.
Yeah. People were asking, "Oh, did you make this?" And we're saying, "No, neither of us did that."
It's a shame because they probably like to see the artiste, don't they? Really?
Normally the artiste is there. It's quite rare the artiste isn't.
Yeah. And I suppose people that go regular will know that as well, but it's just the new people, isn't it? But yeah. I had a bit of a surprise this week because it was last week, maybe even before that, and I forgot to mention it, that I got an email from this lady Sylvia, who's a freelance journalist, asking if she could interview me for the magazine that what would she be doing? She'd be writing for
it, yeah.
And so I could either have done a Skype interview or phone interview or just answered her questions online, which is what I'd done, because I thought that way I'd got more time to think about it. But I like to send in pictures and that, but I think it's French property news or something like that.
Okay.
So she just said to wait a couple of months, and if I don't hear anything from her, to give her a nudge, I think is what she was saying. So I get nothing out of it, but she did say that we could advertise our gîte. She took the details for that, and my YouTube channel. So, and it didn't take that much time, so it was quite nice to do. So
you could get something out of it.
Well, yeah, in the long run, yeah. So what I mean is that she wasn't paying me, is what I'm saying. But she, we'll see whether anything does come from that.
They do say all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably another idiom.
Well, she gave me an example of somebody else's and showed where the pictures would go, and from what I could see, they'd answered exactly the same question. So it's a bit like I do in the interviews, isn't it? It's just finding out the same thing from different people. So so if you buy the French property or any French property magazines, because I can't remember the name, look out for me in that. So that's a quite interesting thing to do.
I'm still having the skate chicken problems.
Yeah, we got to sort that roof out, haven't we?
I think I should try and get something temporary up there. I don't know if we discussed yes, I think we did discuss the need to move my chicken coop. Yeah,
because we were saying about the neighbours
objecting.
Well, actually now it's neighbours. We were saying neighbour. Initially it was one neighbour because they were escaping and nibbling and scratching his garden.
Yes.
And now it's
the other side.
The other side where, although he can't see, it's just his sidewall of his house, isn't it? So he's just complaining because the chicken run structure was too close to the house.
Yeah.
Because it should be, what was it?
A metre.
A metre away, yeah.
So So we've moved it. Problem is that it now has no roof on it at all.
Mm.
And only Susan, has
Yeah.
worked out how to jump on the roof of their little house, across to the top of the fence and plop herself down.
It's really weird that Jackie doesn't leave the. She
Jackie-
just thinks I'm not bothering.
No.
I'm staying here. This is where the food is. This is where the water is.
This is where the shelter is.
This is where the shelter is. Yeah.
Hence, Susan was out in hail yesterday.
Yeah.
Because she can't get back in.
Yeah. Well, that shows you that she must be jumping on the top of that
Yes.
coop to get out, because there's nothing anywhere nearby that she could now jump onto to get back in
No,
again.
she
So
can't get back in.
she's stuck once she's out.
She's an idiot.
And every time she goes out, she must say, "What did I do that for?" Or Jackie's inside going, "What are you doing?"
Well, when I let Susan back in this morning, and that was only an hour after I'd fed them,
Yeah.
Jackie was very sensibly inside going bop, 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 bop,
Yeah, having a
as
go
if to
at her.
say to Susan, "What the fuck are you doing that again for?" You know.
You can imagine it if they were. It'd be really funny.
I
Yeah.
imagine them as elderly maiden aunts, or you know.
Yeah.
Bop, 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 bop.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, they're more
Daft
trouble than
pair.
they were.
yeah.
And there I am thinking of taking on 2 dogs.
Yeah, there's been 2 dogs found wandering, well, in the last couple of weeks, haven't they? Like
Yeah.
little Yorkshire Terriers. One of
Yeah.
them definitely looks like a cross of some. I
More
don't
of a
know.
wire-haired
I've never
terrier,
seen a
isn't
wire-haired Yorkshire Terrier
No, I
before.
don't know.
So they've been wandering around, and our friends Frank and David spotted them out and about today on their way to Lassay, which is quite a distance.
And a main road.
And the main road, and so he's reported it. They've been caught, and now they're trying to rehome them. And Sharon is, for a few seconds, considered it about taking them in, but she's got enough hassle with 2 chickens and 2 cats.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I
we'll
won't-
let you know next week if she weakens.
I don't think I will.
But it's really annoying that these people. Apparently, it's because the owners have gone somewhere and abandoned them.
It's awful.
They can't be really dog lovers, can they, to have done that? Why did they get dogs in the first place?
No.
Doesn't make any sense.
And there are plenty of refuges, even if you dumped them outside a refuge. That's better than leaving them to wander around the town.
Yeah, exactly.
Awful.
No. I mean, I felt bad because Frank and David had reported it as soon as they saw them. But I must admit, I hadn't seen them around, so to me they were back with their owner. But
Yep.
we could have done that when we saw them. And yeah, you thought she might have done because she knocked on your door, didn't she?
Well,
There you go. So, yeah. So that's our exciting life. So just thought we'd update you on that. I can't think of much else at the moment. It's just been normal stuff. We didn't do much at Easter at all because Duncan was tired from work.
yeah, and I was
But you
busy
was at the
anyway.
garden centre. So
I was, yes.
so have you had any interesting dreams this week?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a couple. Well, there was the one last night, which I can't really remember the details of, but I know a baby had a baby.
Yeah, you told me that earlier. That just sounds so creepy, doesn't it?
It was a bit creepy. Now, looking back on it, well, it seemed perfectly natural in the dream that a baby was having a baby, but yeah, really weird.
How weird that you were dreaming of. Was this last night?
This last night.
And yet last night I was dreaming of. Oh no, it was the night before. I was dreaming of people dying and being ghosts from one end of
Wow.
the spectrum to the other. But that's as much as I can tell you
Yeah.
about my dream.
So I can tell you about the one about the party.
Yeah,
I
go
was having
on.
a party at my house. It went on to 3 a.m. I hadn't invited my neighbours, so they were very upset.
You've upset the neighbours again.
Yeah, that's a common theme. It was colleagues from a couple of workplaces. Workplaces from, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago probably. And Cara made a cocktail that when you added liquid, it foamed up into letters of the alphabet.
Yeah. Okay.
In the same evening, I was also on holiday with 6 or 7 other people, including 2 small babies and 2 deaf women. I don't know why. And we went outside onto a balcony, which then flooded into a pool, which led to the sea.
I never know what to say to these dreams. The balcony flooded
Yes,
and then it went out to sea.
yes. So we were on.
Right.
I think it was a ground floor balcony. So it's a bit like opening a couple of French doors onto a almost onto a backyard, really. And then it was, all right, it's time for the pool. I don't know if I think we flooded it. And then it became like a pool that you could swim out, and then at the end of it was the sea.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably because of all this rain we've been having. You just got water in your dreams now.
Yeah. So that was a couple of nights' dreams.
We'll have one more.
All right. An Italian man knocked on my door and asked for directions to North London. I assume I was in South London at the time. We got in his car to direct him.
Right, okay.
I think it was me, Fee and Isla. Could have been Callum as well. I was knitting a cardigan.
While you were driving?
No, he was driving.
Oh.
Yeah. Later, we were walking back towards Bexley Heath, which is near where we used to live in South East London.
Yeah.
And I saw Georgina. Now, she's someone I used to work with probably about 25 years ago. So I saw Georgina, and she said she was divorced now and with a toy boy who had his own son called Goose. And she smelt of alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah.
I recently bought a book on dreams, and then I found one I already had. So far, it's not been that helpful, but I think another podcast will have to actually make a note of the most common things maybe that you dream about.
Yes, rather than
all of them,
yes.
And then we'll try and see if we can work it out, because it's very hard to analyse these dreams when I was looking at the book. So
yeah, it could just be me.
Could be. You could be unique. So
one of a kind.
Yeah. One thing I keep meaning to say about doing one podcast on like words, because we like words, don't we? We've been using and finding odd words that we didn't know existed, and
mainly thanks to Susie Dent.
Well, Susie Dent and Rob Words
and
and just and someone else that on B on Facebook. She has quite often has some. I mean, for example, today was one of our friends, Jackie.
Yes.
Who's coming up in a interview video. Found one today that was a group of rabbits, and I was telling you, and it's a fluffle.
Which is lovely.
Which is really sweet. A fluffle. I mean, you bought Duncan a book, didn't you, on the like groups of animals and birds and
yes.
So
it was supposed to be a joke, because when we were on holiday and we were doing crosswords, every time we came with like, what's the collective noun for something, Dunk would go, for God's sake, I'm fed up with having these. Yeah, so because
because it doesn't make sense. It's got so many different names. But what is the point? You know. Well, I must admit, we should refer to that more often. But it's funny, since then it doesn't come up that often. But another word we've had is procrastinating's one I found.
Oh yes,
that's a good one, isn't it?
Yes.
Which basically, instead of procrastinating, it's procrastinating is. Now I can't remember whether that means you're putting off doing your crafting,
yes,
or whether you're doing crafting to put off doing something else. I suppose it could
I
be
don't know if
either.
that one's actually in a dictionary anyway.
So it could have been made up, yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
They call them portmanteaus, where you actually put two words together with a word in the middle, you know.
Oh right, that's it.
Yeah.
Portmanteau.
Yeah.
Why have we seen that? Yeah, I don't know what that even that word. I'm not sure.
It's a French word, isn't it?
It definitely sounds French. Yeah. I think another one I've got is, I mean, what was that? Morgan muffle.
Morgan muffle.
That was apparently that's German.
Yes.
And apparently it's someone who's grumpy in the mornings and doesn't like to wake up early.
Yes. Yes. A lot of our words have German or French origins, because the Angles and the Saxons came from France and Germany, basically. And the Normans, of course, were French. And the Anglo-Saxons were from...
Well, Rob Words put up a video, or it come up recommended, but he did a video on talking about, how many people don't realise where a lot of the English words are coming from, and there were so many that were French.
Yeah. I've got another good one from Susie Dent today.
Yeah. Which
was forswunk.
Forswunk.
Yeah, SWUNK. Forswunk, which is exhausted from too much work. I'm completely forswunk today.
We could use that quite often, couldn't we?
We're easily exhausted.
That along with the Morgan muffle. Then this one, I can't even... I think this must be one that B put out there, but it was Glustitch. Apparently it's Pennsylvania Dutch.
Oh, right.
It's when you're not hungry but still feel like eating something.
Yeah.
Usually followed by a spell of interior fridge gazing and a session of search food cupboards for inspiration.
Yeah.
Now that's a teenage word, isn't it? Really, because that's all they do. They walk in your mum's kitchen, don't they?
Look in the fridge.
Look in the fridge. Look in the cupboards. So that's what they're doing. Glustitch. That's Glustdich. It's not an easy one. You'd think that was German, but I suppose.
Yeah, but Dutch and German are very similar, aren't they? Yeah.
Are they? I don't really know.
Next door to each other as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, our favourite one that I got from Susie Dent, of course, was scurryfunging.
Yeah.
Which is the act of quickly tidying up when you see someone coming up the garden path.
Yeah, because we said about that, because we're saying that we wouldn't do very well with that, because we haven't got a garden path or a drive. So we'd never have time to do any housework before someone turned up.
Oh, dear.
But anyway, today we thought we'd go on. We've done the French idioms, so we thought we'd have a go at the English idioms. There's obviously a lot of them, but I think sometimes we just say them, or just because they're just second nature, aren't they? But not really thinking about them. And again, like the French ones, and that you just don't know whether they're used worldwide or whether it's just English.
And there are phrases that we can remember in the 1960s that you think, oh, maybe that's was invented then or invented in the 1940s, and then you find out it's from the 13th century. You know, these words have been in common use for centuries.
Yeah, because we just say it. We don't always think. It's only now, funny enough, isn't it, that we're getting older, you start really thinking about where things were from. It's got to be an age thing, hasn't it? Unless you're a student. Like, I can imagine your Isla questioning things like that. But
well, Isla has a list, doesn't she, of words that she claims only I use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which are not words.
But even idioms, isn't it? She's probably thinking, why are you saying that? What's that? That makes
like,
no
You've
sense.
just made that up.
Yeah.
And I say, no, I haven't.
Yeah. So we'll have a look at. I've got the lists here. I've got first one's an obvious one. He's sitting on the fence.
Yes.
Which means basically he can't make his mind up.
I suppose that makes sense, doesn't it? Sitting on the fence is on neither one side nor the other, so there's some logic to that.
And it's a phrase used quite a lot, isn't it? For like you hear him talking about it when you're voting for someone.
Yes,
or
politics. Yeah, sitting on the fence.
Again, it's all that decision thing, isn't it?
It's a poor workman that blames his tools. Again, straightforward, isn't it? Sort of, and I hear that a lot. People go, oh well, yeah, that's not worked because I didn't have the right hammer that day.
Yeah.
I
like to think I don't do that, but I might. There's always a chance you do it without realising.
I think sometimes. Sometimes when we're sewing, we'll blame our needles, won't we?
I suppose you do curse your tools, don't you? Yes. I must admit. Whether I blame them, I don't know. It's always darkest before the dawn.
Yes.
So, funny enough, I think I would use what it means, things are going to get better. Yes. Rather than the actual idiom. Because it's not something I don't think I've ever said that.
Yeah,
I might say it'll get worse before it gets better, or something like that.
That's more the accuracy of it, because it's the darkest before the dawn. So you always have to drop so far before things begin to improve, isn't it? So it's always darkest just before the sun comes up.
A lot of other things that does, it does get used and turned about in different ways, isn't it?
Yes,
it's like when they say if you're ill, sometimes they'll just say, well, you're likely to get worse before you get better, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It takes two to tango.
That's something I use. Do you?
Yes, I've used that. I think that's often if... I always think of it as affairs. People say, oh, she's a bit of a strumpet. You think, well,
so there's all blame.
Yeah, there's always blame attributed to one side rather than the other. And It doesn't. It takes two to tango. It's always, yeah.
And it
It's
does
always
take two to tango. Oh, she'd look very silly.
You would look silly tangoing on your own. Yeah.
Jump on the bandwagon. I wonder where that one comes from.
I'm going to look some of these up. I might try that one actually, because I imagine that's quite an old one.
And it means to follow a trend and do what everyone else is doing. Now that I always attribute to things like fashion.
Yes, yeah.
You know, people just being sheep, as my dad always used to say. Why, you know, and I think that's why I don't follow fashion. You know, because that's just how he used to be. Why have you all got to do the same? Why couldn't you be individual?
Yes.
Which is, I'm more like that now. I didn't used to really be much of a fashion follower, but I do like to be more individual now.
I'm just.
But have you found what it means?
It means what we think it means. I was just hoping I might get something that told me how long it's been
What do I
used.
think it means?
Just what you've said.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say
it's
something.
being a sheep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps we need the Oxford English Dictionary. This is what Susie Dent uses.
Yeah.
Entomology. That's what we want. That's the word, Jan. Entomology. That means how the word was.
Let's move on to the next one. Your one.
I'm trying something else now. Well, that's very elitist of them. Right. Know which way the wind is blowing. Which is to understand the situation, isn't it? So that's about knowing what might... Oh, thank you. Jan's just made it several times bigger, which is a lot
I didn't
easier.
realise I could make it bigger. We're looking at this on the screen in front of us. Yeah.
Yes, so understand the situation. So maybe... I can't think of a situation where you might... Oh, I can think of maybe you've got a job and you think maybe you're falling out of favour, or the boss is changing, so you need to know which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah. Is it going to go in your favour or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I suppose, that could be used in a lot of different situations, actually, couldn't it?
Definitely.
Leave no stone unturned.
Yes.
Which, to me, well, the thing is with these, when you know what they mean, that it's obvious, but some of these are phrases maybe no one else has used, so it's worth mentioning them. So it basically means to look everywhere.
Yes. Never stop searching, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do think there was a famous book about... I think there's a book about famous people that's called Leave No Turn Unstoned.
Oh, really? I've heard of that.
Made me laugh.
Up on this. Yeah.
Right, next one is Let Sleeping Dogs Lie. It says there, stop discussing an issue. To me, that's like almost like don't rock the boat, which is another one, isn't it? So don't disturb the status quo, which is the sleeping dog.
Yeah.
So don't make things difficult. Just let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah,
so,
just like move on. Don't leave it as it is. Yeah.
Don't rake up everything.
Next one, like riding a bicycle.
Yes.
Now, that's very common usage.
It's like riding a bike. You never forget how to do it. Yeah.
But the only problem with that is, what if you've never ridden a bike?
Well, you wouldn't know then, Jan.
No. See? It just says something you never forget how you do.
Well,
unless you haven't ridden a bike.
What would be your equivalent? Because I know you were frightened of these sort of things when you were a child.
Probably walking.
It's like walking.
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten how to do that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else now.
It's like putting one leg
in front. That's it. That's another one. Exactly. That's probably on here somewhere. It's like putting one leg in front of the other, one foot. Yeah.
Like two peas in a pod.
Yes.
It says they're always together, but to me, two peas in a pod is when perhaps they look alike.
Yeah, but that's what I always think.
Yeah. Oh, you two, you look like sisters. You're like two peas in a pod. Because peas in a pod, if they're in the same pod, would look almost identical.
Yeah, I wonder why they say it's that. Yeah.
I suppose that's a different use, isn't it?
They're always together. I've never thought of that as being the reason. It's weird, isn't it?
It's like your twin grandchildren.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet people say, oh, you two are like two peas in a pod.
Strange that.
Because we were.
Make hay while the sun shines. Now I think that's probably used quite a lot as well. I mean, just basically.
I do think these are generational, because we can sit here and say that's used a lot, and our kids and grandkids will be saying, I've never used that in my life.
You're probably right. Yeah, no, you're probably right.
I mean, we see that living in the countryside, don't we? We do watch farmers often working late at night in the summer.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to literally make hay.
And it's a bit. It also links with that saying of, well, you know, from working in a betting shop, and it's saying sort of doing it while the going's good.
While the going's good.
It's the same sort of thing as that, isn't it? So you just do something while it looks like it's going to be okay.
While the conditions are to your favour, isn't it? Yeah.
On cloud nine.
On cloud nine.
Now, so where has that come from? I mean, it means you're very happy. I think there's probably quite a few phrases for that sort of thing.
Oh, well, I found it.
Is there a saying?
One commonly cited explanation is the expression derives from the classification of clouds, defined by the US Weather Bureau in the 1950s, in which cloud 9 in the list is a fluffy, cumulonimbus type.
Oh, it's one of those complicated. Let me have a look at it, see if I can work it out.
So it's the most attractive of all the clouds.
Yeah, cumulonimbus, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the most attractive fluffy cloud.
Oh.
So there you go.
Most attractive, but that's
Other
not
people
really
thinks it comes from Buddhism, so what can we say?
Oh. But again, it's something that's quite commonly used, isn't it? Oh, they're on cloud 9 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so it's once bitten, twice shy. Now, I would say, to me, that means not making the same mistake twice. Is that what it says there?
You're more cautious when you've been hurt before.
Yes.
So basically, if something's happened to you before, then you should learn by that.
Yes. There's some people here saying, again, I don't know if this is true, that might go back to the Romans who were obsessed with rabies.
Oh.
So it might be literally being bitten even, being bitten by a rabid dog. You wouldn't let that happen again.
Well, yeah, that sounds like it could be its origin. Yeah.
Other people say it's from Aesop's fables. Did you read Aesop's fables when you were a kid?
Well, I don't think so. Yeah. Out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yes.
I think again it's something I've definitely said, and it basically just means you're going from one bad thing to another, aren't you?
Yes.
So, and to be cautious, someone might say, oh, you'll end up going from one, from the frying pan, out of the frying pan, so it means you've left a bad situation
and you've gone into
another
worse
one.
Yeah. Oh, it was the subject of a 15th century fable. There you go. Just shows these things just go back hundreds and hundreds of years.
It's amazing that people can do the research and find out as well.
And the fact that we're still using it is what surprises me.
Yeah.
Why are we still using phrases? Because, that one may be, but others don't have any relation to how we conduct ourselves now, but we still say them.
And there's new ones being sort of created as well, isn't there, by each generation.
Yeah. Run like the wind. Yeah, just like to run fast, isn't it? Yeah. I suppose wind goes faster than human legs. Run like the wind. I always think of Run, Forrest. Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Shape up or ship out.
Yes. That's the
sort of thing you can imagine parents saying to their kids.
I wonder if it comes
especially if they're still living at home and they're 30. Come on, shape up, just ship out. Although that sounds like it could be an army type thing.
Or naval,
because it means to work better or leave. So I suppose there's loads of situations it could be used. And again, it'll be a certain generation that are likely to use it, I'd have thought.
Yes. Snowed under. I mean, that's one that I think is still used by most generations, isn't it? You're snowed under, you're drowning in work usually.
Well, I definitely hear my kids say it, and usually, because of work generally. I mean, it just says you're busy,
I used to work with someone who used to say he was up to his arse in alligators, which I quite liked.
Really? I've heard of that one.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Hmm?
Trying to work out why he would say that.
I don't know. It was his thing.
I suppose it means he's having to rush along because these alligators are behind him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it says here the phrase "snowed under" was first used in 1880. It was used in a newspaper report to describe the phenomenon. I can never say that word. Of being covered in snow.
Okay, well that's speaks for itself.
It says later it's used in terms of overwhelming one with paperwork. Came as a result of paper being white as snow. So yeah, some logic to that, isn't there?
The ship has sailed, or that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically you're too late. That's gone.
Yeah, I do think a lot of these sort of army and navy works probably had their roots in that.
Yeah.
This is one I've never understood. The next one,
the
pot calling the kettle black. Now, why is...
Yeah, it's not obvious, is it?
I don't think it's a racist comment, but probably people have seen it that way.
Well, it says someone criticising someone else, he's just as bad.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a history to that one, isn't
there we go. To criticise someone for a fault you also possess. Yeah.
A fault, as in...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It says the phrase dates back to the early 1600s.
Wow.
When most pots and kettles were fashioned from cast iron, a material that acquires streaks of black smoke when heated.
Oh.
So it's basically saying, yes, my pot might be covered in black smoke, but yours probably is as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 1600s. That's bizarre, isn't it? There are clouds on the horizon. Can't say I use that one much. I can see the logic of it.
I can't say I've heard of it, but that's not something I hear. Oh, they're saying that. I probably might have heard it in a work situation. Yeah, I can visualise it, either in my situation or someone has said something. We're all in the office and the boss is coming, and that'd be trouble's coming.
Yes, clouds on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah. But that could be used in a lot of ways, couldn't it?
Yes,
it could
definitely.
mean actual trouble coming, or just mean that someone who's a problem is coming. Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So that really is similar to the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it?
Yes, so it says, yes. So if you're criticising someone else, think about what you're up to yourself as well.
Because the actual way they word it, people who are morally questionable shouldn't criticise others. And it's right,
Again, I'm just shocked about how old these are.
Yeah.
This apparently goes back to Geoffrey Chaucer, who did Canterbury Tales.
Right, yeah.
This is from Troilus and Cressida, which was written in 1385.
Wow.
It's an epic poem which tells the story of two tragic lovers against the backdrop of the siege of Troy.
Wow.
And it says, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Amazing. So Through Thick and Thin is next. Yeah. So in Good Times and Bad. Yeah, I think that one's still used, isn't it? I don't know why it's thick and thin though.
No, that's a good point. That whatever was thick and thin is the question, isn't it? What was thick and thin?
Yes. Again, Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. So 14th century. Derived from an old hunting expression, through thicket and thin wood. The thicket is a group of trees or bushes that grow close together. So it's, if you're in the thicket together, or in the thin wood, you should still stick together.
Yeah. Every time we say these now, we're going to have a different thing in our mind. Time's money.
Time is money, yeah.
Work quickly.
It's true though, isn't it? That's just true.
It is very true.
Or when you're working for a living.
Well, this is Dunk's motto.
Time is money,
He works quickly.
Yeah, he does. He's like a bloody whippet. We should do people who... What kind of dogs would they be?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, next one is waste not, want not, which I never understood because that always seems like a dove. To me, it should be waste, want not. So if you waste things, you obviously don't need anything.
It says don't waste things and you'll always have enough.
Yes, so it shouldn't say waste not.
That makes sense when you read it like that.
Waste not.
So if you don't waste things, it's just because it said waste not. So if you don't waste things, you're not going to need more because you'll always have it there.
Possibly.
If you see what I mean.
Yes. So if you're careful with your possessions, you'll never be in the need of anything.
Yeah, it's a bit. So really, that's a bit like the recycling and everything, isn't it?
Yes, I always
Don't throw it
reminds me
away.
of the Second World War. I don't know if that's. I know it was used during the Second World War.
Yeah, well, that would be very
I don't
apt for
know.
that. We see eye to eye. Now
Yeah.
we know it means to agree. We agree.
I'm
But
more
why
familiar
for-
with not see eye to eye. So if you disagree,
Yeah, but why eye to eye?
is that just about looking at somebody in the eye?
It must be, mustn't it? Because if you can look at someone in the eye and say something, generally you're not lying, are you? That's the. I think that's what. But then again, that's not to do with agreeing.
It comes from the Bible.
Oh, is that like when they say an eye for an eye? Is it that sort of? Does it come derived from that? No.
It
All right.
says in the King James Bible. It says, which we've obviously both read.
Oh yes.
Every Sunday.
That's why I'm bedtime reading. Yeah.
Thy watchman shall lift up the voice, and with the voice together they shall sing, for they shall see eye to eye when the Lord shall bring again Zion.
No, didn't help me at all.
No.
That no.
It says over 2,000 years later, the phrase eyeball to eyeball was coined, which meant face to face. Weird.
No,
weird.
it doesn't. That still doesn't help that one. It just says we agree.
To weather the storm. Again, I think that's quite logical, isn't it? To go through something difficult and come out the other end, really, isn't it? It's to survive the worst of weather.
But why weather?
To weather the storm, right. So
It's-
it's using the...
I mean, you can understand saying almost like ride the storm or
Yes, why weather the storm?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
or
This one's been used since the 1600s at least, and alludes to a ship surviving a storm at sea and coming safely through awful weather. It doesn't say why they say weather the storm.
well, we know what it means, but we don't really understand. Yeah, just
The
go.
way it's put together.
Yeah, go through something
but again,
difficult.
Very, very old.
Well begun is half done. Not one I've heard
No.
much because I don't. I mean, it says
No.
getting a good start is important.
I feel as if I know something very similar, but I don't think I've ever used that.
All I keep thinking about is like when you prepare for something. Once you're prepared for something,
It's kind of that measure twice, cut once
yeah.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
that. It's the same sort of principle,
Yeah.
isn't it?
When it rains, it pours. Somebody said in one of these things I was looking up that the British love to talk about weather, and we do.
But do you know what? The French talk about the weather just as much.
I think
Every
it's
time you see them, they
countries-
talk about the weather.
I think it's countries that have very mild weather. We get obsessed.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm trying to find.
When it rains, it pours. Everything is going wrong at once. So that's quite logical, isn't it?
Yeah, he's off his rocker.
It's off his rocker.
He's crazy.
Where
So-
does that come from?
Yeah, he's off his rocker. I mean, I've
Is it
I've
literally-
said that a few times. I have to say.
Is it literally falling off a rocking chair?
I don't know. So it sounds like a London type phrase,
It
doesn't it?
does, yeah.
Almost on the lines
Oh,
as.
that one's quite
Cockney
early-
slang almost.
Yeah, early 20th century.
Oh right, okay. Meaning.
Yes, it's saying about old people being in their rocking chairs. But I don't think I've always used it just about older people, do you?
No.
I think it's about people being a little bit...
What's the word? You've got to be so careful, PC,
Yes.
haven't you?
Yes.
Basically, someone that's
It's a little crazy.
a little bit crazy, a bit unstable, in some way.
Oh, there we go. Someone else has said it's the same as being off your trolley. So whether it was a trolley bus, I don't know, but not sure where that came from. There's lots of different versions. It means the same thing, but it's where it originates from, we're not sure.
Slow and steady wins the race. Reliability is more important than speed.
See, I always think of the Hare and the Tortoise,
Yeah.
which I think is
Yeah.
an Aesop's fable, as I was talking about earlier on.
Oh, is it?
I think it is an Aesop's fable.
I always think of that as being something like take your time and then it will be right.
Yes. Yeah.
suppose it's similar, but it's saying reliability is more important than speed. So I suppose, that's
or accuracy.
So
you're
accurate,
thinking.
yeah. So if you're going slowly doing something, you're more likely to get it accurate than if you rush it. Yeah.
Yes. Next one is spill the beans, which I think is one that's still used, don't you? Yeah. Spilling the beans.
Yes.
Somebody said recently.
Oh, I would imagine there is a current one, if you like,
It's something to do with tea.
Tea.
Yeah. Spill the beans probably dates back to ancient Greeks' method of placing black or white beans in a jar to cast your vote.
Oh.
So
and I suppose that would be a secret, yeah. Cause
if someone spilled the jar of beans, the election results would be known prematurely. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And it's begun to be now, as you say, revealing secret information.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Take a rain check. Now that I've never really understood that, but it's to postpone a plan.
I think that's American. But
Is that? Do you think it's just
because
it's raining, we'll do it another time, or I don't know. What would that?
Right, this term comes from baseball.
Oh, right.
So it probably is American.
Yeah.
Where in the 1880s it became the practice to offer paying spectators a rain check, entitled them to future admission for a game that was postponed or ended early due to bad weather. So they would literally have had a rain check.
Yeah.
So yeah, it means to postpone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't think I've ever heard Brits using that. I think that's more of an American.
No,
term.
I have, but
Yeah.
it's not commonly used, I don't think.
No.
We could be wrong.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. So don't take it too seriously.
We tend to say taken with a pinch of
a
salt.
pinch of salt.
Don't we?
Yes.
Same
I knew
thing,
it didn't
but
sound quite right, but I
yeah.
couldn't work out why.
But it's probably come from that. But
oh yeah, I mean there's always slightly different versions.
Yeah, don't take it too seriously. Yeah, that's quite a common one as well.
I bet that's on my daughter's list of you've made that up, mother.
Really?
And again, I'm just trying to find out. I'm fascinated by where these things start from.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. It goes back to Pompeii.
Wow.
Pliny, which Pliny used. This expression is a translation of a Latin phrase, cum grano salis, used in describing Pompey's discovery that an antidote for poison is to be taken with a grain of salt. Yeah, still everyone says Pliny the Elder, but to be taken with a grain of salt or a pinch of salt is an English idiom that suggests to view something that may be misleading or unverified with scepticism. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it seems to go back a long way, but maybe it's changed over time. As it said, ancient writers would often suggest that food is easier to swallow if taken with a small amount of salt.
Ah,
And that's
right,
how it's changed
okay.
over time. It's a bit like a spoonful of sugar. Helps
Sugar?
medicine go down. Sugar. My ability to speak today is a little bit. A spoonful of sugar. The ball is in your court. It's your decision, or you've got to decide. I'm assuming it's come from tennis or something like that.
Must have done, mustn't it?
The ball is now in your court, so you've got to bat it back.
Yeah, that's quite a common one again. The best thing since sliced bread just means it's a really good invention.
That must be recent, mustn't it? Because we haven't had sliced bread that long. That would have been after the Second World War, presumably.
When was the first sliced bread, I wonder?
Do you want me to Google that?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, let's put this in first. The best thing since sliced bread, the first record is thought to be in 1952.
Oh, right.
When the famous comedian Red Skelton
Not heard of him.
said, "Don't worry about television, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread."
So sliced bread was obviously before that for him to have said that. I wonder when it
they're
was.
saying that there was an advertising slogan in 1928 from Chillicothe Baking Company, which was the first company to sell sliced bread. Well, there you go.
So since around the 1920s.
Yeah. Up till then, we had to slice our own.
Yeah.
How
Well,
ridiculous.
I do now. Anyway, the devil is in the details.
Yes.
That just means it looks good from a distance, but when you look closer, there are problems.
Yeah. Right, the devil. I bet it goes back to monks and things like that.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be religious of some sort, doesn't it?
Oh, right. It started off as God is in the details.
Oh, right.
So when did it change to the devil? Now, it says somewhere between 1821 and 1969. That's a big
Yeah,
gap
exactly.
there.
That's a bit of a...
God is in the details.
No.
When did we start using... All right.
We
In
don't know.
1963, the devil is in the details was used to discuss rebuilding Europe after World War II. Could it be, just be somebody's remembered it wrong? It's weird, isn't it?
Someone has twisted it.
God is in
For
the
some
details
reason.
makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
'Cause
it does
details are
really,
good
because they're
rather
saying
than-
it looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
The early bird gets the worm.
Yeah.
So the first people who arrive will get the best stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's like...
again, that's just pure logic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or the early chicken will escape out the coop.
It's also, yeah. Or because there's a sale on, obviously, you get there early, you're going to... Hopefully you'd get the good stuff.
You get the good stuff.
Or the stuff you're actually looking for might still be there, sort of
Yes,
thing.
yes, yeah. Now this next one, I know the origin of this because Susie Dent told me the other day.
And what is it?
The elephant in the room,
Yeah.
which is the... Oh no, it wasn't this one. It was White Elephant.
Oh, well, you don't know the
I
origin.
don't know the
then.
origin of this one. The big issue, the problem people are avoiding.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did have an elephant in your room,
Yeah, you'd have to talk about it,
you'd
wouldn't
have
you?
to talk about
Yeah.
it if you ignored the fact.
You'd be a bit daft, wouldn't you, really? Yeah, so...
Can I tell you the other one, though? Because it was really a good story. The
Yeah.
white elephant. You know, if you say, oh, I've got a white elephant,
Yeah,
it means it's something that's absolutely useless.
right.
It's a bit of a white elephant.
Oh, right. Well, that's daft, isn't it, really? Because you have get a white elephant stall they used to have, didn't they, at Fates?
Perhaps it was just all the
All,
nothingness.
all the useless stuff. But why would you be selling it?
Apparently,
Weird.
I can't remember who it went back to now, but it was an ancient emperor, I think.
Mm.
And people he didn't like, he would gift them a white elephant because they were sacred, so they weren't allowed to be put to work, but you still had to feed it, so it cost you money.
Oh.
So it was a way of punishing people by giving them a
Yeah.
white elephant. So I
Well,
like that story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susie Dent.
The whole 9 yards. Now, there's a film. There's a
yeah.
film titled
Yeah.
that. Everything, all the way. So it's just basically if you want to buy something or someone does something, you just say the whole 9 yards means do everything. Buy everything. Yeah, that's... Yeah. But I'd imagine... I can only relate that to golf, but I don't know if it is.
No.
Was it
Again,
fabric?
it goes back to sailing.
Oh!
It goes back to when square riggers, as a big boat, had 3 masks, each with 3 yards supporting the sail. So it's that kind of
Oh,
yard.
masts.
Yeah. It's a yard arm rather than
Yes.
a distance.
Right, okay.
So the whole 9 yards was when you had all the sails fully open. So it's
oh, and then
everything.
you just put everything into it. Yes.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's the
I
yard
like that.
arm rather than the measurement of a yard.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So that's
good,
why they're
isn't
saying everything, because then we
Yeah.
go all the way, yeah.
Yeah. There are other fish in the sea. I mean, plenty of fish in the sea as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, that one says it's okay to miss an opportunity, others will arise. I think we associate it with maybe a
Well, with
relationship
relationships, yeah.
failing,
Yeah.
you know. And if, oh, he's left me, don't worry, there's plenty of fish in the sea,
Yeah.
plenty of other fish in the sea.
Yeah. Well, I suppose
So-
it would be seen as an opportunity, another
Yes,
opportunity,
yeah,
wouldn't
but
it?
I've never
Yeah. I've not-
heard it used apart from with dating.
No.
So-
As a method to his madness. Meaning
Yes.
he seems crazy, but actually he's clever. Yeah, I think that's quite a good one.
You always
I think
think of
it's
the
another
nutty
one.
professor, don't you?
Yeah.
With their hair,
Yeah.
their white hair up in the
Yeah.
air.
Bit
Yeah.
like Einstein.
Einstein, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of thing. It's
The method to his madness. Yeah.
yeah, or someone's looking at you thinking, what the hell are you doing? There's a method in my madness,
Yes.
yes.
It's like the way Jan ignores pattern instructions but always manages to produce something at the end.
Yeah.
There's a method in her madness.
Just about. but I
There's no
can't-
such thing as a free lunch. That means that there's always something to pay, isn't there?
Yeah.
If someone buys
Yeah.
you lunch, then there's probably
Same as
a
it
favour wanted at the
yeah,
other
and it
end.
comes from the same saying as If it's too good, it probably is something like that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. If it seems too good, it probably is.
It probably
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Right. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So what you have is worth more than what you might have had later. I think that's trying to say. So, yeah, you might see two birds in the bush and think that's attractive, but if you've actually already got one in your hand, then that's value. That's the value.
Yeah, because you've already got it. Yeah. Yeah, I've never really thought about that.
Do you want me to look it up?
Not worried.
All right, please yourself.
Unless you want to know.
I want to know them all. I just can't.
Yeah.
Oh, a penny for your thoughts. I don't know if that's gone out of fashion, because I don't know. But
Because a penny doesn't exist in...
Yeah,
Well, not for us it doesn't, but...
Yeah. Oh, right. Tell me what you're thinking. Yes, penny for your thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's the sort of thing you'd say to your boyfriend, wouldn't it? What you thinking? You're thinking about me.
Yeah.
And apparently that I've just looked that one up. The saying is from a time when the British penny was worth a significant sum. So at the time, you would have saying a penny for your thoughts would have been like saying $1 million for your thoughts. You know?
So really, it's paying for information as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it says from 1522, Sir Thomas More wrote a penny for your thoughts. It's a saying from a time when the British penny was worth a significant sum, and it was said by Sir Thomas More in 1522. So you would have been saying at that time €1,000 for your thoughts. So you wouldn't be saying something cheap.
Right, going on to money again. A penny saved is a penny earned. Money you save today, you can spend later. So basically, it's just...
Yes. Save your pennies.
Yeah.
The one I used to know was if look after the pennies and the pounds look after themselves.
Yeah.
Again, is about, save the little bits and they'll all add up.
Yeah.
Perfect storm. So it's like all the worst things coming together at the same time to create a perfect storm. So the worst possible scenario all at once.
Yeah, but because of the word perfect, you'd think of it, to me, I would think of it as being a positive thing, but that doesn't sound positive, does it?
Well, you wouldn't want to be stuck in a perfect storm, would you?
I suppose not, no. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Now, that reminds me of Yul Brynner. Didn't he do a song?
Oh, that
Kojak.
Oh, yes, you're right, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
A picture cover. He didn't sing it, did he? He just spoke it. Obviously, that's because...
Was that Yul Brynner?
No, it wasn't. It was the other bald man.
Yeah.
Telly Savalas.
Telly Savalas, that's it.
From Bald Man.
Better to show than tell.
Well, can't you just show and tell?
So, in other words, don't just tell me, show me. Yeah, okay.
I always think of it as...
I suppose it's if you're demonstrating something.
Yes.
It's better than just reading it out, isn't it?
See, to me, it was more doing something for someone rather than just going on about doing something for someone. So it was an action. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I never see it like that.
Oh, there you go.
It's a way we interpret these, isn't it?
The very next one is the one I thought the one above was.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So believe what people do, not
that's
what
exactly
they
what
say.
you just said. Yeah, so, yeah.
See, that's what a picture is worth 1,000 words meant to me. But there you go.
Well, you was obviously wrong.
Won't be the first time today, and probably not the last.
Add insult to injury to make a bad situation worse.
I suppose is that literal? If you're injured, like you lose your arm, and someone says you look stupid without that arm.
Yeah, go on, Lou, just make it worse. Make me feel better.
The one I associate with that is rubbing salt in the wounds.
Yeah, I sort of know what
Which
you're
I
saying.
assume is just making it more painful, isn't it?
Yeah, it does sound like what you said though, isn't it? You've lost your arm, and then someone insult you because you've lost your arm. Yeah,
to make a bad situation
does make a bad
worse.
situation worse. Yeah. Barking up the wrong tree. To be mistaken, to be looking for solutions in the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of dogs.
Well, yeah. So
dogs barking up the tree looking for the squirrel, and the squirrel was already
on
in
the other
next
tree. Yeah. But again,
Yeah.
that sort of explains itself, really.
Yeah, birds of a feather flock together. So people who are alike are often friends. It says usually use negativity. or even
negatively.
Yes, can't speak.
Yeah, I think you could have that. It's like if you've got a lot of people that don't behave well, and that's why they say that, but them all sticking together, don't they?
Yeah.
They all this. Yeah, I cannot think of another way of putting it. But surely you could use that in a positive.
I think you could use it in a positive way.
Because if you've got a load of people that do the same things, basically, good or bad, they're all they're attracted to each other, aren't they? Yeah.
Things in common, I always think. Yeah.
But they reckon negativity.
Who's they?
I can't even say it now. Negatively.
Bite off more than you can chew. Yes. I mean, I literally do that sometimes. Especially if there's something sweet involved. I will bite off more than I can chew. But yeah, taking on a project you can't finish, or taking on a project beyond your capabilities as well. Isn't it?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It was. I have to say, if it was something nice, I'm more likely to take small chunks of it to make it last. Yeah. Break the ice.
Right, I'm going to look this one up because
to make people feel more comfortable.
I want to know where that
Which is
started.
what that quiz is.
Icebreakers.
Our icebreaker questions we did. Yeah, that's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, it goes back to ships being traded. Being used for trade. Smaller ships, better known as icebreakers, would be set out to clear the way by breaking the ice.
Yeah.
This enabled the larger ships to move freely.
Right, yeah. So in using that in the context of our questions, it's
making the first move, getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, and asking those sort of questions prompt conversation that in turn then relaxes people. Yeah.
Yeah. It first appeared in a book in 1579 because it was literally a ship that was sent out that was an icebreaker. I see. I heard this on Susie Dent as well, and I've bloody forgotten.
You've forgotten what it is.
Yeah, by the skin of your teeth, just barely. Yeah.
I use that quite a lot.
Completed it
again,
by the skin
not
of my
knowing
teeth.
where it's come from.
I think it's literal. Can you think of anything even more marginal, than the actual skin of your teeth?
But your teeth haven't got any skin, have they?
No, but
Yeah,
they may have thought anything covering your tooth. That's again from the Bible.
Oh.
Yeah. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I escape with the skin of my teeth. So maybe it's just the thinnest thing you can imagine.
Right, so it's that, so just barely that close, yeah.
Yeah, barely got away with it. Yeah.
Comparing apples to oranges. So comparing two things that cannot be compared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite logical, is it?
I suppose, but when you're comparing, that's saying they can't be compared, but they're both fruits, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe it's a time when people didn't. Yeah, it would only make sense. Unlike me at the moment.
Don't really know where that's come from.
No. Something cost an arm and a leg, meaning it was very expensive.
That's got to be history on that one.
Oh, right. It is quite literal. So it's talking about a term that existed after World War II, where many servicemen lost arms and legs. Therefore, the price of the war was an arm and a leg.
Right, so they weren't literally selling arms and legs.
No, it was about the price of war.
Right.
And then later on it became anything that was expensive. Oh, it's quite a recent one and quite a nice one.
A little learning is a dangerous thing. I've never really understood that, but people who don't understand something fully are dangerous.
Yes, there's another one that's very similar to that, isn't there? A little knowledge.
There's one that a little knowledge
is a dangerous thing, isn't it?
Well, I've heard of it saying a little knowledge can go a long way.
But I think it's those people that know half a story, isn't it?
I think this is saying if you don't look into something properly, you can misinterpret.
It's like me thinking I'd make a good doctor because I watch a program.
Or your doctor programs,
So that's a little knowledge.
So you've got a little bit of doctor knowledge, but you could never be a doctor. Yeah.
Yes, or it would be okay as long as I didn't assume I could perform perform a tracheectomy or something.
Oh God, God forbid.
Oh dear. The snowball effect. I think that's quite logical. Events have momentum and build up on each other. So it's literally when you roll a snowball down a hill, it collects other snow,
It gets
doesn't
bigger
it?
and bigger, yeah. Yeah, that's quite, again, fairly common one.
Yeah.
A snowball's chance in hell.
No, I've never heard of that.
I've heard of it, and it's obvious, really, isn't it? Since hell is supposed to be hot and fiery.
Oh, is that what it means?
So it means no chance at all.
Oh, right. I've never used that.
Really?
No.
So it's basically a snowball's gone. As soon as it goes to hell, it'd be melted.
Yeah. Unless your hell is being in the Arctic.
Well, yeah. We're going by what people think of as hell, really.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we've all got our own hells, I suppose, yeah.
A stitch in time saves 9. Again, I think that's quite logical. I don't know why it's 9. But fix the problem now because it will get worse later. So if you it's like if you mend something now before it tears further, and then you've got to put 9 stitches on it. Why it's 9?
I'm just trying to think why.
It might just
be stitch in time. So basically, you get it done.
Do the stitch now.
Yeah.
So if you leave it, it will get a lot worse.
Yeah. A storm in a teacup. So big fuss about a small problem.
Yes. Yeah. I just looked up the stitch in time perfectly. Yeah. Just the logic of what it says. Really, it came from sewing.
Oh, it did. Right.
Yeah.
Storm. I suppose you're just suggesting the storm is very small because it's in a teacup. But
yes. Yeah. Oh, the original saying was obviously written in Latin, which I'm not going to attempt. And the original phrase was a tempest in a ladle.
Oh,
isn't that cool? It comes from a poem in Latin.
Well, in that case, it depends on how big your teacup is as well, doesn't it?
Well, a tempest in a ladle is just as bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite sweet, that.
Yeah.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apples are good for you. I would say it's more about having something healthy, so you don't have to call the doctor.
Yeah, not literally an apple.
Literally an apple, but
an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Similar to a stitch in time saves 9. So do it now.
You can prevent a problem with little effort. Fixing it later is hard. Is harder. Yeah. So basically, if you see something's broken or just cracked, fix the crack before it becomes a major thing. Yeah.
The next one is as right as rain, which means as right as rain means it's perfect, but I've got no idea why. It's as right as rain.
When is rain right?
I'm just looking this one up as it's a bit peculiar. Plays on the expected nature of rain in Britain's notorious damp climate. You can always rely on it to rain.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Apparently, Charles Dickens said, "As right as a trivet." Why a trivet would be right? Again, I really don't know. It's a bit peculiar.
Bolt from the blue. Something that happened without warning.
Yes.
I'm assuming bolt as in thunderbolt or lightning bolt from the sky. Is that what that means?
From a blue sky, so maybe it was unexpected.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, blue sky, not a grey sky. Yeah, so you wouldn't expect it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Suggesting a thunderbolt from a clear sky. Yeah. Burn bridges. Oh, you've burnt your bridges.
Yeah.
To destroy relationships. I suppose that's logical as well. If you burn a bridge, you can't go back over it later, can you? Yeah.
Well, I've willingly burnt some bridges in recent years.
You're quite good at burning bridges, I think. Me, I'd be there trying to mend the bridge at all costs.
I only burn the bridges that are necessary.
Yeah, I wouldn't even burn them if they're necessary, because I avoid conflict at all.
Well, I do normally. I did until recent. Yeah. Anyway, the next one.
Calm before the storm. Something bad is coming, but right now it's calm. Yes.
So that's similar to another one we've already said, isn't it?
Well, I always think of it as, if we were you could say, I've been getting on with Elsie really well at the moment. And it's the calm before the storm. It's going to get a lot worse. Yeah.
Come rain or shine. So it just says no matter what.
No matter what.
I think we use that quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, come rain or shine. Yeah, that's quite logical, isn't it?
Next one.
Yeah, curiosity killed the cat. Well, all I can say is so far it hasn't.
No,
So
true.
I've got a very curious cat who's still alive.
Yeah.
But it means, stop being nosy, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're being over curious, so get your nose out of there. It's none of your business.
I suppose, it's just saying the cat got curious and then
And lost one of its 9 lives.
Yeah. Throw caution to the wind.
Yes. Take
a risk.
Yeah. Why caution to the wind?
Caution to the wind.
Again, I don't know. Throw.
I can only assume it means brave in the weather or brave in the wind.
It could be.
It sounds like
Caution to the
possibly a
wind.
sailing thing again, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. A lot of these sort of things do come from sailing or other professions. They start off in professions.
Yeah.
And where did it originate? Goes back to John Milton's Paradise Lost. So I don't know when that was. People saying it might go back to a prayer from 1290. My God, these things just stay around forever. When you think we're always inventing new words, that somehow we hold on to these old phrases and hold.
Yeah, exactly. And you think how fat the English dictionary's got over years.
I know, but
and they allow slang and everything in dictionaries now, don't they?
Oh, this one's 3 sheets to the wind.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which we think of as being a bit drunk, don't we?
Being drunk.
So it says, if 3 sheets are loose and blowing about in the wind, then the sails will flap and the boat will lurch about like a drunken sailor.
Well, yeah.
But I didn't find the origin of blowing caution to the wind. Don't be surprised if your friends think you are taking an unnecessary risk. Still doesn't say why. I want to know why.
It must be in a wind
It's probably
storm of
shipping.
something.
It's probably
or
ships again, isn't
yeah.
it?
Right, another one. Hit the nail on the head. It's something exactly right.
Well, that's literal, isn't it? If you know, if you hit the nail on the head, then it's exactly the right place.
Yeah.
Rather than either side of it, which is how I use a hammer. Yeah. Ignorance is bliss. Yes, I still use that.
That's
Better
me.
off not knowing.
Yeah, that's me all over.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
it comes to the news, Jan thinks ignorance is bliss.
It is, exactly.
There are some things you bet. Yeah.
Most
Better off
things,
not
I'd say. Most things, I would say, better off not knowing.
See, I'm like, knowledge is power.
I know you are. Yeah. I don't know what power it's going to give you. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Now, is that PC? Can you really say that these days?
I don't know. A lot of people think it goes back to opera, because you always have the big lady at the end always sings the big operatic song.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Susie Dent said to me, she's
To
only
you.
said it to
I
me,
need to say it to you, yeah.
that it was invented. There's a famous baseball player, Americans will be able to tell me this, and I can't remember his name, but he's well known for making up phrases and often using them wrongly. I think he's probably attributed the "It ain't over till the fat lady sings." I think most
so
people
basically
think
this isn't over yet, is what it means, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the opera always ends with the fat lady singing.
Yeah.
Takes one to know one. Still use that, definitely.
Yeah.
You're as bad as I am.
Yeah. It's a piece of cake. It's easy.
Yeah.
Now, I don't quite understand
Sharon is looking it up.
why a piece of cake.
A piece of cake derives from slavery in the American southern states in the 1870s. During parties thrown by slave owners, black slaves competed in cake walks, which saw them mocking the ostentatious gestures of the slave owners through dance. The most elegant performance would be rewarded with a cake. That's horrible, isn't it?
I don't understand what that's got to do with
Being
easy.
No. Soldiers in World War II used it to describe a mission that was easy to accomplish. It doesn't tell you when it was first used. It's raining cats and dogs. Now we say that for it's raining hard. I think that's definitely a British thing.
Well, we did it on the French idioms. We did this one, as we talked about it, didn't we? Because we say cats and dogs, and they say something about stair rods, don't they? Or something?
Yeah, see, stair rods make sense to me because if it's raining hard, they can look like stair rods coming down.
Yeah.
But cats and dogs, right? Hang on, I might get this one. Several possible explanations. Oh, that's horrible.
Do tell.
Well, they're saying it's involves the drainage systems on buildings in 17th century Europe, which were poor and may have disgorged their contents. So when it was raining really hard, corpses of any animals that accumulated used to fall down in heavy showers.
Oh.
So there's a poem, Jonathan Swift poem from 1710, a description of a city shower saying, drowned puppies, stinking sprats, all drenched in mud, dead cats and turnip tops come tumbling down the flood.
Nasty.
There's a better explanation. Oh, right, yes, that's interesting. Another explanation is that cats and dogs may be a corruption of a Greek word, katadoupi, which refers to the waterfall of the Nile. So a katadoupi was a waterfall.
Who do you believe?
And also through an old French word, catadoupe, meaning waterfall, and catadoupe also means cataract in French. So it could be just people speaking bad Greek, or drowned puppies in the street. Take your pick. Neither very nice.
Parts of cats and dogs, wasn't it? Yeah. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're murdering here.
Yes.
Get 2 things done with a single action.
Yes. That's logical.
Which is horrible.
You shouldn't be killing birds with stones.
You shouldn't be killing birds with stones.
I assume it goes back to days of catapults, maybe?
It's got to be catapults, because so if you manage to kill 2 with 1 stone, it's quite a skill, but just don't do it.
And it saved you some time.
Yes, that's all it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saving time. Yeah.
Right, let the cat out of the bag. Giving away a secret.
Oh, what's another one about letting secrets out?
Yes. Why it's a cat out of a bag. Can have a look. Otherwise, I don't know why. Why would you have a cat in a bag in the first place? It would be really helpful if people from other countries would let us know if they have other equivalents or something very similar.
Yeah.
One suggestion is it refers to the cat o' nine tails, which was a whip used in the Navy.
Yeah.
The instrument was purportedly stored in a red sack, and a sailor who had revealed the transgressions of another would be letting the cat out of the bag.
So it's the cat o' nine tails.
Yeah. So I can see the logic of that.
Yeah, we get that one.
Yeah.
Because although it's giving away a secret,
so
obviously you must hide the whip and then just bring it out when...
Yeah, the whip's in the bag
Yeah.
and you've told on someone.
Yeah.
So they're going to get whipped, aren't they?
Live and learn. Exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
I made a mistake.
Yeah.
So you live and learn. That's something that's quite familiar to us, isn't it?
What, living and learning?
Living and learning.
Living and forgetting, more like. Look before you leap. So take only calculated risk. Yes, you should look before you leap.
Yeah.
You
should at least sort of work things out before you do something.
Or
yeah.
don't do like Sharon did and not look at her feet and fall over in her
Fall
own
over
cellar.
yeah. On thin ice, on probation, if you make another mistake, there will be trouble.
Yes, that's quite logical as well. You're more likely to make a mistake on thin ice.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So it's don't basically walk on thin ice. So don't do anything. It's
going to get you into trouble.
Yeah.
You say that to your kids, wouldn't you? You're on thin ice, you know.
Oh yes.
One more mistake and that's you grounded.
Yep.
Once in a blue moon, which is rare. I think that's just a blue moon is rare in the sky. So,
is there ever a blue moon?
I think a blue moon is probably a full moon.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So doesn't happen very often.
Which can understand it being rare, but I didn't know where the blue moon bit came from.
Yeah.
Play devil's advocate, to argue the opposite just for the sake of an argument.
Or devil's avocado, as I often say.
Do you know what? I didn't know that's what that meant.
Oh right.
It's probably not a phrase I use. Yeah, never used that really. So
going back to
I heard you say it. I must admit, it's something.
Well, I do say avocado by mistake
as well.
An advocate. Well, it is in France as well, isn't it? It's a name for a lawyer. So you'd be playing the devil's lawyer.
Yeah.
So putting across the opposite argument.
Yeah.
Or it might go back to someone appointed by the Catholic Church to challenge a beatification, which would be if someone's up for sainthood.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it would be literally challenging that. So put something on ice, putting a project on hold. Again, logic, I suppose. Something will last longer on ice.
Exactly.
We also used to say at work, we used to drive me mad about putting things on the back burner, which used to get on my nerves. All those kind of things you use at work get on my nerves. But putting it on the back burner would be, putting it to the back of the stove.
Yes, and let it just simmer.
Yes.
But I mean, I suppose it's the same thing, really, isn't it?
Same thing.
You're using ice instead, yeah.
Yeah, putting it on hold.
Rain on someone's parade.
Yes.
It's to basically spoil someone's happiness, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So just logically, I suppose, if a nice parade is going past and then it gets rained on, it's going to spoil it.
There's nothing worse than a rainy parade.
No. Saving for a rainy day. I have got a savings account called Rainy Day. Well, I don't know why we're saving for a rainy day, do you?
That's a good point, no.
First used in the mid-16th century, used in a play. Would he have me keep nothing for a rainy day? But why rainy day?
Is it because you can't do anything on a rainy day and you need something else to do?
Or is it just that's when your roof leaks?
So basically you'd be saving money for repairs for the roof on a rainy day.
Is that what it means? I can't think of anything else.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Logically, that would make sense. Let us know if you understand that one. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, we use that one quite a lot. Treat people fairly, also known as the golden rule. Don't know, but I do. It's something I believe in.
Yes. It's like walking a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
That's more about empathy, isn't it?
Yes, but
Do unto others as you would have done to yourself, isn't it? So don't count your chickens before they hatch. So don't count on something good happening until it's happened. That's quite logical. You could have 6 eggs and only 4 hatch, couldn't you? So you shouldn't be counting that you've got 6 chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see the logic in that one.
Don't cry over spilt milk. There's no reason to complain about something that can't be fixed.
Well, so is it just...
In other words, you're wasting your time, aren't you? Because
what's the point in crying over it?
Yeah.
It's done now, isn't it?
Yeah. Gone.
Don't give up on the day job. You're not very good at this. I mean, you often say that when you hear people maybe singing or playing an instrument. Or don't give up on your day job.
It's quite a nice way of saying it in a way, because it's better than saying you're not very good.
You're not very good at that,
but
are you?
You'd sort of get the hint, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's maybe the thing you're second best at.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. We're on eggs again.
Yeah.
What you're doing is too risky. Yeah, I suppose some eggs might fall out. That's what it means, isn't it?
Yeah. Every cloud has a silver lining. See, I don't get the logic of that.
No, I don't.
I mean, I know what we use it for.
So good things come after bad things. See, I always interpret that as see good in
every bad thing.
Well, yeah, or just look at the positive. That's my way of always interpreting it. Look at the positive rather than...
What's this sable cloud? We're going back to John Milton in 1634. He says, sable cloud. Was I deceived, or did a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining in the night? So maybe a sable cloud is not a cloud, and then it's that the sable's got dropped over time, which often happens, isn't it? Things get shortened and it's just become a cloud in the sky now. It says a metaphor referring to the silvery shining edges of a cloud backlit by the sun or moon. So maybe it's just there is a picture of a cloud with a silver line in there, so it just means a silver outline rather than a lining. So every cloud has a silver outline.
As in lining,
Yes, rather than with us we're thinking of...
inside it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that, it probably means outline rather than lining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Giving someone the cold shoulder. Again, Susie Dent told me what this was and I have forgotten. I mean, it could just be literal in that you turn away from someone. Yeah. And just all they've got left to look at is your cold shoulder.
Well, you'd think that would just be like turn your shoulder or turn your back on them, wouldn't it? Why cold?
I think it might also have a shoulder lamb connotation.
Yeah, give them a cold shoulder lamb.
Cold shoulder lamb, which was an insult.
Oh.
But we know what it means now. Yeah. To me, I can see someone literally turning away from me.
Yeah.
So only my cold, only their cold shoulder is. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on a wild goose chase to do something pointless.
Presumably.
Again, another thing that's used quite a lot.
Presumably, chasing wild geese was very, very difficult.
Well, yeah, they were never going to stop, were they? So you're just wasting your time running and trying to catch them. Yeah.
Yeah. Good things come to those who wait. Oh, don't we all tell our kids that as well?
Yeah.
To be patient.
And sometimes we have to console ourselves by saying that.
Well, my mum used to say, every dog has its day.
Right.
Which was something similar. If bad things are happening, wait.
Yeah.
Bide your time.
Yeah.
Don't know why we bide time, but we do. Bide your time. Be patient.
No one needs a chip off the old shoulder. Yeah, not shoulder. Chip off the old block. So basically the son is like his father. Yeah, let us know if there's any that we've missed out that you quite like.
Yes.
Or if you've got any different ones.
Definitely, if you've got ones that you've always used in your family.
Yeah, and do you know the meanings behind them or the history of them?
Yes, yes.
It's I think.
I meant to mention going for a Burton.
Oh, yes.
Because again, Susie Dent told me this.
Personal friend, Susie Dent.
Well, going for a Burton started off with airmen during the Second World War. Because there was an ale called Burton Ale, which they all used to drink, but there was also the phase of landing in the drink, which meant a plane had crashed into the sea.
Yeah.
So drink became the ale, became Burton Ale, became Burton. So that's why we say if you fall over, you've gone for a Burton.
Yeah. As I said at the start, it's amazing how many of these things you say without even giving a thought of where they've come from.
Oh, I'm fascinated that these things have been around for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, and we're still using them in modern time.
And yet your daughter says you're making a lot of this up.
She has a list. She has a list that she claims only I use.
Yeah.
I think Gone for Burton's definitely on that list. I'm going to send her that etymology.
Anyway, we won't see you, but you'll hear us in the next podcast.
Yes, maybe we'll get round to doing that dream one.
Yes.
Again.
Right, yeah. Right, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.